Good afternoon, friends. I thought I would interrupt your day for a little D.E.A.R time. Drop everything and read. And the really cool part about what we're doing right now is that since I'm sending this over video, you don't have to drop everything and read right this very second. But when you can find a comfortable place, maybe grab a fuzzy friend, a blanket, a little snack. I have my coffee. Grab a little snack and a warm blanket and find a good time where you can just relax and listen. I thought we'd read together a little bit. I went to the classroom and I grabbed Wonder. We haven't been able to finish this book yet, so maybe we can now. We're going to make the most of the opportunities that we have. So the part of the story that we've been reading from is Summer's perspective of August's story. So I thought I would back up to the beginning of her part of the story, even though you might remember part of this. But remember, when we sleep, stuff squirts out. So I'm going to back up to the beginning of her part of the story, and then when she's done, Jack has something to say. So we'll hear from Jack next time. And the other really cool part about you listening to this right now is that if you need to pause in the middle and maybe go take a break, or you have to run an errand with mom or dad, or maybe you can't hear so well because there's noise in the house, you can just put pause on and just come back to it later. Or if you want to wait till right before bedtime and you want to make this part of your bedtime routine and just listen to a little bit of a story right before bed, you can do that too. So you have a little bit of flexibility with this, but I just thought it would be a fun other way for us to connect. So I'm going to read part 3 from Summer, and like I said, you just find a comfortable place, sit back and relax, and then press play when you're ready. Okay? All right. Part 3, Summer. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down. You are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring you down. And that's from a song by Christina Aguilera called Beautiful. Weird kids. Some kids have actually come out and asked me why I hang out with the freak so much. These are kids that don't even know him well. If they knew him, they wouldn't call him that. Because he's a nice kid, I always answer, and don't call him that. You're a saint, Summer, Chimena Chin said to me the other day. I couldn't do what you're doing. It's not a big deal, I answered her truthfully. Did Mr. Tushman ask you to be friends with him? Charlotte Cody asked. No, I'm friends with him because I want to be friends with him, I answered. Who knew that my sitting with August Pullman at lunch would be such a big deal? People acted like it was the strangest thing in the world. It's weird how weird kids can be. And I wanted to pause right there because that reminds me of the time in Zuckerman's farm when Charlotte spoke up for Wilbur to the old sheep, when the old sheep was being unkind to Wilbur, and she stood up for her friend and told the sheep that he shouldn't say such things. And this is kind of what Summer's doing for Augie now. She's being a good friend. She could try to just stay in the middle and not say anything so that she doesn't upset anyone, but she stood up for what was right, and she stood up for August, and she's being a good friend. I sat with him that first day because I felt sorry for him. That's all. Here he was, this strange-looking kid in a brand new school. No one was talking to him. Everyone was staring at him. All the girls at my table were whispering about him. He wasn't the only new kid at Beecher Prep, but he was the only one everyone was talking about. Julian had nicknamed him the Zombie Kid, and that's what everyone was calling him. Did you see that zombie kid yet? Stuff like that gets around fast, and August knew it. It's hard enough being the new kid, even when you have a normal face. Imagine having his face. So I just went over and sat with him. Not a biggie. I wish people would stop trying to turn it into something major. He's just a kid. The weirdest looking kid I've ever seen, yes, but just a kid. I do admit that August's face takes some getting used to. I've been sitting with him for 2 weeks now, and let's just say he's not the neatest eater in the world. But other than that, he's pretty nice. I should also say that I don't really feel sorry for him anymore. That might have been what made me sit down with him the first time, but it's not why I keep sitting down with him. I keep sitting down with him because he's fun. One of the things I'm not loving about this year is how a lot of the kids are acting like they're too grown up to play things anymore. All they want to do is hang out and talk at recess. And all they talk about now is who likes who and who is cute and who isn't cute. August doesn't bother about that stuff. He likes to play Foursquare at recess, which I love to play too. Too bad it's not Knockout. It was actually because I was playing Foursquare with August that I found out about the plague. Apparently this is a game that's been going on since the beginning of the year. Anyone who accidentally touches August has only 30 seconds to wash their hands or find hand sanitizer before they catch the plague. I'm not sure what happens to you if you actually catch the plague because nobody's touched August yet, not directly. How I found out about this is that Maya Markowitz told me that the reason she won't play Foursquare with us at recess is that she doesn't want to catch the plague. I was like, "What's the plague?" And she told me. I told Maya I thought that was really dumb, and she agreed, but she still wouldn't touch a ball that August just touched, not if she could help it. November. August was absent the day after Halloween, and when he came back I could tell something was up with him. He was acting so weird at lunch. He barely said a word and kept looking down at his food when I talked to him. Like, he wouldn't even look me in the eye. Finally I was like, "Augie, is everything okay? Are you mad at me or something?" "No," he said. "Sorry you weren't feeling well on Halloween. I kept looking for Boba Fett in the hallways." "Yeah, I was sick." "Did you have that stomach bug?" "Yeah, I guess." He opened a book and started to read, which was kind of rude. "I'm so excited about the Egyptian Museum project," I said. "Aren't you?" He shook his head, his mouth full of food. I actually looked away because between the way he was chewing, which almost seemed like he was being gross on purpose, and the way that his eyes were just kind of closed down, I was getting a really bad vibe from him. "What project did you get?" I asked. He shrugged, pulled a little scrap of paper from his jeans pocket and flicked it across the table to me. Everyone in the grade got assigned an Egyptian artifact to work on for Egyptian Museum Day, which was in December. The teachers wrote all the assignments down on tiny scraps of paper, which they put into a fishbowl, and then all us kids in the grade took turns picking up the papers out of the fishbowl in the assembly. So I unfolded Augie's little slip of paper. "Oh, cool," I said, maybe a little overexcited because I was trying to get him psyched up. "You got the step pyramid of Saqqara." "I know," he said. "Hey, do you want to start working on our projects together after school? You could come over to my house." He put his sandwich down and leaned back in his chair. I can't even describe the look he was giving me. "You know, Summer," he said, "you don't have to do this." "What are you talking about?" "You don't have to be friends with me. I know Mr. Tushman talked to you." "I have no idea what you're talking about, Augie." "You don't have to pretend, is all I'm saying. I know Mr. Tushman talked to some kids before school started and told them they had to be friends with me." "He did not talk to me, August." "Yeah, he did." "No, he did not." "Yes, he did." "No, he didn't!" I put my hands up in the air so he could see I wasn't crossing my fingers. He immediately looked down at my feet, so I shook off my Uggs so he could see that my toes weren't crossed. "You're wearing socks," he said accusingly. "You can see my toes are flat," I yelled. "Okay, you don't have to scream. I don't like being accused of things, okay?" "Okay, I'm sorry." "You should be." "He really didn't talk to you?" "Augie!" Okay, I'm really sorry." I would have stayed mad at him longer, but then he told me about something bad that had happened to him on Halloween, and I couldn't stay mad at him anymore. Basically, he heard Jack bad-mouthing him, saying really horrible things behind his back. It kind of explained his attitude, and now I knew why he had been out sick. "Promise you won't tell anyone?" he said. "I won't." "Promise you won't ever be mean like that to me again?" "Promise," he said, and we pinky swore. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. I did this because I know she's not always so good at faking her feelings, and August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it. But I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. She was shocked when she came through the door and saw his face for the first time. "Hi, Mom. This is Augie. Can he stay for dinner?" I asked quickly. It took a second for my question to even register. "Hi, Augie," she said. Of course, sweetheart, if it's okay with August's mother." While Augie called his mother on the cell phone, I whispered to Mom, "Stop making that weirded out face." She had that look, like when she's watching the news and some horrific event has happened. She nodded quickly like she hadn't realized she was making a face, and was really nice and normal to Augie afterward. After a while, Augie and I got tired of working on our projects and went to hang out in the living room. Augie was looking at the pictures on the mantel and saw a picture of me and my dad. "Is that your dad?" he said. "Yeah." "How come I've never seen him at drop-off or anything?" "Oh, he was a platoon sergeant. He died a few years ago." "Whoa, I didn't know that." "Yeah," I nodded, handing him a picture of my dad in his uniform. "Wow, Summer, look at all those medals." "Yeah, he was pretty awesome." "Summer, I'm sorry." "Yeah, it's sad. I really miss him a lot." "Yeah, wow." He nodded, handing me back the picture. "Have you ever known anyone who died?" I asked. "Just my grandmother, and I don't really even remember her." "That's too bad." August nodded. "You ever wonder what happens to people when they die?" I asked. He shrugged. "Not really. I mean, I guess they go to heaven. That's where my grands went." "Hey, Augie, can I ask you a question?" "Yeah," he said, like he knew exactly what I wanted to ask. I hesitated. I've been wanting to ask him this for a while, but I've always lost the guts to ask. "What?" he said. "You want to know what's wrong with my face?" "Yeah, I guess, if it's okay for me to ask." He shrugged. I was so relieved that he didn't seem mad or sad. "Yeah, it's no big deal," he said casually. "The main thing I have is this thing called mandibulofacial dystosis, which took me forever to learn how to pronounce, by the way. But I also have this other syndrome thing that I can't even pronounce. And these things just kind of morph together into one big super thing, which is so rare that they don't even have a name for it. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm actually considered something of a medical wonder, you know." He smiled. "That was a joke," he said. "You can laugh." I smiled and shook my head. "You're funny, Augie," I said. "Yes, I am," he said proudly. "I am cool beans." Over the next month, August and I hung out a lot after school, either at his house or my house. August's parents even invited Mom and me over for dinner a couple of times. I overheard them talking about fixing Mom up on a blind date with August's Uncle Ben. On the day of the Egyptian Museum exhibit, we were all really excited and kind of giddy. It had snowed the day before, not as much as it had snowed over Thanksgiving break, but still, snow is snow. The gym was turned into a giant museum with everyone's Egyptian artifact displayed on a table, with a little caption card explaining what the thing was. Most of the artifacts were really great, but I have to say, I really think mine and August's were the best. My sculpture of Anubis looked pretty real, and I had even used real gold paint on it. And August made his step pyramid out of sugar cubes. It was 2 feet high and 2 feet long. And he had spray painted the cubes with this kind of fake sand paint or something. It looked so awesome. We all dressed up in Egyptian costumes. Some of the kids were Indiana Jones type archaeologists. Some of them dressed up like pharaohs. August and I dressed up like mummies. Our faces were covered except for 2 little holes for the eyes and 1 little hole for the mouth. When the parents showed up, they all lined up in the hallway in front of the gym. Then we were told we could go get our parents, and each kid got to take his or her parent on a flashlight tour through the dark gym. August and I took our moms around together. We stopped at each exhibit, explaining what it was, talking in whispers, answering questions. Since it was dark, we used our flashlights to illuminate the artifacts while we were talking. Sometimes, for dramatic effect, we would hold the flashlights under our chin while we were explaining something in detail. It was so much fun, hearing all these whispers in the dark, seeing all the lights zigzagging around the dark room. At one point, I went over to get a drink at the water fountain. I had to take the mummy wrap off my face. "Hey, Summer," said Jack, who came over to talk to me. He was dressed like the man from the Mummy. "Cool costume." "Thanks." "Is the other mummy August?" "Yeah." Hey, do you know why August is mad at me?" "Uh-huh," I nodded. "Can you tell me?" "No." He nodded. He seemed bummed. "I told him I wouldn't tell you," I explained. "It's so weird," he said. "I have no idea why he's mad at me all of a sudden. None. Can you at least give me a hint?" I looked over at where August was across the room, talking to our mums. I wasn't about to break my solid oath that I wouldn't tell anyone about what he overheard at Halloween, but I felt bad for Jack. "Bleeding scream," I whispered in his ear, and then walked away. I wonder if Jack's going to figure it out. One of the things that I think is so really super cool about Summer is that she understands the importance of a true friendship. Do you remember when we were talking about Samuel anointing the next king of Israel? And he was looking at all of Jesse's sons. And after looking at all of the tall, strong sons of Jesse, David's brothers, he was sure that one of those strong, burly men in Jesse's family would have been the next king of Israel. And God said to Samuel, he said, "I don't look at the outward appearance. Man looks at the outward appearance. I look at the heart." And Summer was looking at August's heart. She wasn't looking at the outward appearance. And she thought that August was pretty cool beans. She thought that he was smart. She thought that he was funny. And she made a point to be a good friend to him. And I encourage you today to find ways to show kindness to those around you. Find something good about the people around you. Not the outside, but something on the inside. Because God made them very special. And God made you very special. And I love you very much. See you next time.